All right, Buck fans, welcome into the Christmas edition and unfortunately a losing edition to the No Quarter Given podcast. A terrible, terrible loss on Sunday at home to the Cincinnati Bengals, 34-23. The Bucs fall to 6-8, but yet still lead the NFC South somehow, some way. Welcome in Peter Blake. Peter Blake, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I felt like we got coal in our stocking after that game on Sunday. Everything started out so beautifully, but it's the Bucs season this year. It didn't necessarily finish that well.
Yeah, we're going to get into that here in just a second. Just remember, the No Quarter Given podcast is brought to you by the buckpower.com podcast network. Definitely go to buckpower.com for all of your Buccaneer history, stats, video, audio. You'll hear from Paul Stewart here later in this podcast to give you his montage of the Arizona Cardinals rivalry coming up here on Christmas night in the desert. You'll have a Christmas night to spend watching the Bucs. You'll get to hear some Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth on the call, Peter Blake.
That'd be a lot good. That'd be real good to hear. Hopefully, with the Bucs win, of course, on Christmas night, and I'll be doing a post game show. Obviously, hopefully somebody's up that night. Hopefully, it's a Bucs win.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's get into the game a little bit. One, Buccaneers start out really well. Intercept Joe Burrow on the first drive. You got a nice interception by Carlton Davis on a tip ball. Bucs go down, settle for a field goal. You know, didn't the last couple plays they end up settling for a field goal, but up 3-0, go down and get up 10-0, and then actually get up 17-0. So you're thinking you're showing some signs of life. The play calling's pretty good. What'd you think the first half performance? 17-3 at the half.
Well, I thought, the first drive, shocking development. You settle for a Ryan Suckup field goal, but after that, again, I thought the game plan was sound. You go with pass play action. Even Tony Romo mentioned it on the broadcast. They haven't done a lot of that this year. They also go for fourth down a couple times, so ultra aggressive, if you will. I loved it. I thought, you know what, this could be a blowout. This could be a great day for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, and then defensively, getting a turnover early. What kind of momentum was that to give finally your offense a short field? So everything I thought was going in the Bucs direction, but of course we know how fast it can turn, don't we?
Well, again, back to the first half. Again, you saw the Bucs make a conscious effort to get Mike Evans involved. I think he had all 80 of his yard. I think 80 all of his catches and yards were in the first half, I believe.
Yes.
You didn't see as much interaction in the second half, but again, conscious effort to get Evans going. They did a good job. I give Byron Leftwich credit. The play calling was better, a little more play action, a little more under center, not as much shotgun. You actually ran the ball okay when you did run the ball, so you were able to hold those linebackers. And defensively, I thought the Bucs were excellent defensively that first half. Didn't like how easy they went down the field on the last drive to kick the field goal. Wish there would have been a little more resistance there. But again, all in all, 17-3 at the half. You had to feel great if you were a Buccaneer fan.
And just to give you an idea, they doubled the plays of the Bengals 40-20. They tripled the yards, 261-83. Of course, they had 14 more points, and Tom Brady at that time, 17 for 23, 200 yards, and of course, found Russell Gage and Chris Godwin for touchdowns. So you had to feel pretty good about it. And you're exactly right. The defensive matchup to everybody that was going to watch this game was going to be Carlton Davis versus Jamar Chase.
Yep.
I thought he did a splendid job of covering him, shutting him down, and that's the reason why the Bengals were struggling in that first half, because Burrow could not find Chase, and they also had a couple sacks in that first half. So everything was going in the direction of the Bucs.
No, you're right. 17-3. Again, that was their best half of the year, I thought, based on who they played, the way they played, the dominant level they played, and again, we're going to talk about this as we move forward. I know the Buccaneers lost the game. Turnovers were terrible in the third quarter, but it shows you signs that if you play well, they're capable of playing well against some of the better teams in the league. And if you can just harness this effort and play a full 60 minutes, the Buccaneers still have a legitimate chance here to win a playoff game or two, I think.
Absolutely they could, but can they sustain it? Can they continue to not shoot themselves in the foot,
Right.
because they did a lot of that on Sunday, and they done a lot of that throughout the year with shooting themselves in the foot with penalties and turnovers and everything else. You're absolutely correct. They have all the potential in the world to beat any NFL team, but they can't get out of their own way.
So we go to the second half, 17-3. Bucs get the ball coming out of the half, which is even more good news. 4th and 1 at the 34. Fake punt called. Again, you and I have talked about, we want to see the Bucs be a little more aggressive. Would Todd Bowles be capable of calling a trick play, calling a fake punt? They call the fake punt. Everybody on the punt team knows what's coming, except the guy who the ball's going to, Gio Bernard. For whatever's going on, who knows?
He thought he was still playing for the Bengals, obviously, because he didn't know the plan. And I mean, it just comes down to what this team has done to themselves all year long. Communication breakdown. How can you go for a fake punt and the guy that's supposed to make the play not know where he's supposed to be? Furthermore, why are you going for a fake punt? I get it. You're about to punt it to that offense, but your defense has played well. Why do that to yourself? And then you fumble the ball, and of course you give all the momentum back to the Bengals after that.
Luckily, the Bucs hold them to a field goal, so it's still only 17-6. So again, give credit to the defense. Keep them out of the end zone there. Now the turnover brigade starts. You got the bad interception by Brady, which he came out post-game and said, 1,000% my fault. Just a bad throw. 3rd and 5 it was or something. He threw the ball outside. Give the guy credit, made a nice catch. They go down and give up a touchdown there, make it 17-12. Then you come back with the fumble, the strip sack again. Hard to blame Brady because he's always pretty good in the pocket of keeping the ball. He gets stripped, fumbles, makes it again. Now it turns into 18-17. To me, the one that was the absolute killer was the missed handoff between Brady and Fournette. Not Fournette's fault. The ball never got to Fournette cleanly. The ball slipped out of his hands. Again, a very, like he mentioned, uncharacteristic. And again, it's true. I know it's the 4th turnover in a row. I get it. But the misplayed handoff is a very rare thing in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrible sequence. It's again, the third quarter was the bugaboo. It seems like it's been the bugaboo for this team this year. And it's disappointing because you expect more out of Tom Brady. He's the greatest of all time. He's a guy that's not going to turn over the ball. And I feel bad for the defense because I thought the majority of the day they played well. In fact, the whole game they played well. But you can't ask a defense on a short field to stop an explosive offense like the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow and Chase and keep them at bay and keep them to field goals, because eventually it's not going to happen. And the Bucs, they figured that out because they couldn't stop anybody in that third quarter. They couldn't stop anybody in that second half. And that was on the offense. That was on Tom Brady especially.
And then you had the disparaging part, I thought, was you had turnovers are bad and you don't ever want to turn the ball over, but all 4 turnovers were inside the 35-yard line or so. It's not like we drove down to the 20 and had a miscue and had to make the Bengals go 80 yards. All the turnovers were the Bucs never advanced the ball. They really didn't get the ball past midfield till the 4th quarter. And that was, to me, that's the strain you put on your defense. Sure, the turnovers are bad, but when you only have 30 yards to defend, it makes it awfully difficult for the Bucs to make a stand and prevent scoring at all.
Yeah, and then on top of it, you know what went by the wayside? Not going with the pass play action, which worked in the first half.
Right.
You don't see that happen anymore. Going to Mike Evans, you don't see that going anymore. Trying to run the ball, you don't see that happening anymore. So it was just, again, it's a head scratcher. Who is calling the plays? I don't care anymore. I don't care if it was Todd Bowles. I don't care if it was Byron Leftwich. I don't care if it was Tom Brady. They need to get it together. It needs to be more consistent. And once again, we talked about this about 3 or 4 years ago with the turnover situation with Jameis Winston. When you turn over the ball and you allow your defense to have their backs against the wall on a short field, it's going to come back and haunt you. And that is the reason why the Bucs lost on Sunday. It was the fake punt, and it was the Brady 4 turnovers.
Yep. Let's get to a couple things in the second half again that were kind of turning points, in my opinion. Would have been a tough play, not an impossible play, but it would have been a good catch. Sean Murphy Bunting drops an interception on the sideline. Again, I'm not going to kill him for it would have been a really good catch, but it's a catch a good cornerback makes. In that moment when you need to make a play, when teams are making plays, the cornerback catches that ball. Murphy Bunting's not able to hold on to the ball on the sideline, keeps a Bengal drive alive. They go down and score. So just those kind of plays, when your defense is playing well, the guys make that play.
And that's why this defense doesn't have those turnovers like the other great teams. That's the difference. And Sean Murphy Bunting has all the potential in the world. I feel like we're talking about this team this year, has all the potential in the world to do some great things because we saw it in 2020 with him step up. And you know what? He hasn't been able to do it. And it goes a long way with getting interceptions. That's your job. Do your job. And it seems like this defense, especially in that back end, maybe Carlton Davis did it on Sunday, but everybody else, you really don't know how to do their job. And SMB is one of those guys.
And we have to be fair. I mean, we don't like to, I don't like to do this. Levante David had a couple opportunities to stop guys on third down, didn't do it, extended drives, turned into more points. So again, I'm not trying to be critical here, but Levante David has not been as effective as he's been in years past, whether that's a result of age, wear and tear, who knows. But again, he had some opportunity, the critical, again, maybe the biggest play of the game. You on fourth down, you sack Joe Burrow at the 50 on about a 20-yard loss, but we have Levante David hooking, chase around the shoulder. That's going to get called every single time. You can't do that.
And it's another situation where a critical penalty at a critical time costs this team an opportunity to have a big play and get the momentum back. It's
to me, that might have been the turning point in the whole game. Is you have them,
right.
You stop them, sack them at the 50, they go in and score a touchdown after that.
They do, and you give the Cincinnati Bengals, who by the way are on a winning streak coming into the game, and they're one of the upper echelon teams that you can't afford to make those type of mistakes against, and you do it, and it comes back to bite you. And that is the sign of a bad team, and they continue to do this over and over again. And whether it's the players, whether it's the coaching, somebody has to be held accountable. And this is the reason why they're 6-8. And a lot of people right now are looking at this team saying, look, I don't care if they win a division or not, or they get to the playoffs. If they play like this, they're getting bounced out in the first round. But if they have this type of effort, there's no guarantee, Jason Powers, that they're going to beat Arizona or Carolina or Atlanta. Because if you play this type of football, the inconsistent type of football where you have penalties at critical situations, you turn over the ball, you're only, once again, scoring how many points in this game? 17? Oh, you get a garbage touchdown at the end, so it inflates it. Why does this team have so much difficulty when it comes to pass play action? Why does this team have so much difficulty when it comes to penalties? At the end of the day, it is on coaching, and it has to get better, or some people are going to lose their jobs.
I'm not going to put it all on coaching. Again, they share in responsibility. We have enough veteran players that we should be able to be making, regardless of the coaching. We have enough veteran players that we should be playing better than this on both sides of the ball. Again,
I agree. I agree with you.
You can't put it all on the coaching. Some of it is the coaching.
What's the biggest change in this team this year? What's the biggest transition besides the obvious, the offensive line being hurt and all the changes there? What is the biggest change on this team this year?
Again, I would say the aggressiveness of the head coach.
There you go.
Which leads in all facets of the game.
Correct.
Going for it, not going for it, fake punts, not faking it, aggressive offensively. To me, that's the biggest change. Again, we talked about it. Todd Bowles, defensive guy, has been a conservative head coach typically. Give him credit. I'm not going to kill him for the fake punt. That's all on Gio Bernard.
It's a terrible call. I'm going to kill him on the fake punt because at the end of the day, your defense is playing well. There's no need for it. If you believe in your defense at the end of the day, what would you rather have? Would you rather have Cincinnati? Because we all know that this team has not been able to execute any trick plays, any plays at the end of the day. Why do that? Why not put it in your defense's hands? This is what you've done. And then if you're going to go for it on fourth down, bring out Tom Brady and quarterback sneak it. Why be so exotic all of a sudden? I don't understand it. You're getting too cute at the end of the day. And I get it. We want him to be aggressive, but this was not the time and this was not the place. Wrong time, wrong place.
All right. I'll disagree a little bit.
Okay.
You have a veteran player we're asking the vet, and I know the veteran player hasn't played much offensively, and maybe that's part of it, that he's not as focused, but They practiced his play all week with him in the game. It's not like he was a substitute. He was the guy the ball was getting snapped to. Everybody knew it but him. I think you look at the replay, he'd have got the yard. He catches the ball, he runs.
And then at the end of the game, he doesn't want to answer the question when
I agree. That's bad.
They're trying to go, and then everybody's trying to make him look like, he's a victim or something.
I agree.
I mean, go go answer the question. Say whatever you want to about Tom Brady, and people are like, well, why don't journalists treat Tom Brady like that? Well, because he gets up to the podium, he answers the questions, he's accountable for his actions. This is the main problem with this team. You got a guy who doesn't want to answer the question to say that he's responsible for it. Then there's kind of like, well, was it a fake punt? Was it not a fake punt? Was the guy in the wrong? And then he goes, well, I'm accountable for it. It was my fault, my fault, my fault. After, the rigmarole for journalists out there like Jenna Lane, who I've worked with before, and she started out radio with myself, trying to get a question, trying to do her job, and she is basically vilified because she's trying to do her job because the guy is not trying to be accountable. That's the problem. Once that guy does that, bitch his ass. That's all you have to do at the end of the day. And I'm sorry, that's passion coming out because we need more of that on this team. People need to be benched. They need to be held accountable so this type of play doesn't happen again. It's completely inexcusable. The coach should be, talked to by the owners. Why are you going for a fake punt when your defense is playing that well and you personally or you have this whole unit that has shut down this explosive offense? Why are you doing it? And if you want to do it, once again, go for it with Tom Brady. He's a quarterback sneak machine. What are you doing?
All right, we'll agree to disagree on the fake punt. Again, I can see your argument about putting Tom Brady out there if you want to go, but I'm not going to kill Bowles for stepping out of the box of the norm and trying to do something that would have sparked the team a little bit. Again, I'm not going to, that one's all on Gio Bernard. Everybody admits he knew what was, he missed the call or whatever. All right, let's go to special teams real quick. Yes. You had a missed field goal by Suckup. Again, another 3 points that you don't get. You had Devin Tompkins try to make a play that had no business making, running backwards and get tackled at the 6-yard line. Those are just things. Again, he's a young player, so I know he's trying to make a play, and I get it. But you have to know your role. Right. Your role is not to try to make dynamic, spectacular, run across the field plays. Those plays don't work. Get what you can get on these kickoff returns. If a hole opens and you bust one for 30 or 40, great, but at least get the ball out to the 20-yard line.
I agree with you on that, although, I've been very critical of Jalen Darden going down. At that point, I would have liked to see Devin Tompkins go down.
Yes.
Get out of bounds. But
take your loss. Take your minimal gain and call it a day.
He's trying to make a play, and it was the whole day. Everybody's trying to make a play. They're trying too hard. You're not doing your job, and that's what it comes down to.
You're right. All right. Bucs fall to 6-8, 34-23 final. Again, the good news is we're going to get to the Arizona preview here in just a couple minutes after Paul Stewart. The good news is you're still in first place. New Orleans wins. Now all three teams are now 5-9 behind the Buccaneers. So they're all within striking distance in theory. But again, it's an opportunity the Bucs let loose. They could have been up 2 games, and the division would have almost certainly been over at that point. Now you're only up 1 game on all 3 teams. You still have a matchup to see the Carolina Panthers in 2 weeks. You see the Atlanta Falcons in weeks 18. So again, you're still in good shape from a divisional perspective that you see everybody. But again, it was a missed opportunity. Again, the glimpses of hope for the Bucs is that you saw a really good first half. Both sides of the ball played well, penalty-free for the most part. You played clean. Not a good third quarter, not a good, second half, especially the third quarter. So I think still, Peter Blake, there is still hope, though.
I hope so. Because if they come out with this type of game plan where they have pass play action and they're going to Evans and they're running the ball and they're becoming a balanced team, and I feel like you've got to be more balanced at this point. The offensive line isn't good enough to hold up, and even when it is, Brady's not able to consistently complete passes down the field. I'd rather have this type of game plan for the whole game instead of just a half.
Sure. I get it. Buck fans, I know we're all frustrated. We just don't understand how with so many veteran players, high-priced guys that have won together, how we're just not able to put it together yet. It's going to be one of those years, Buck fans. At best, we're going to be 9-8. You're going to be the 4 seed. There's no doubt we're going to be the 4 seed. In almost all certainty, you're playing the Dallas Cowboys if you win the division. So to me, you have to use these next, and we're going to talk about this a little more in depth. You have to use these next 3 weeks to get ready for the Dallas Cowboys, because that's who you got to win you got to win a couple of the next 3. I get it. But Dallas is on your mind. Good news is we've already beaten the Dallas Cowboys week 1.
True. Well,
and the Dallas Cowboys are not playing as well as they were 3-4 weeks ago either. So it's not like they're high flying. They've lost. Dak Prescott has shown some flaws. That defense is not nearly as good as they've been. So again, I think there's still hope, and we'll talk about the hope after as we get to the Arizona. But let's get to Paul Stewart. Paul Stewart's montage, Cincinnati Bengals Buccaneer history. You're going to hear some great audio clips, some great analysis. And after the montage, we're going to get back to the Arizona Cardinals Christmas Day preview concerning, and we're going to talk a little playoff opportunity and playoff perspective here as well. Enjoy the montage. Remember, you can watch this video montage, Buck Power TV on YouTube. Just search it. You'll see Paul in all his glory giving you the Bucs and Arizona Cardinals montage. We'll be back in just a minute or two. All right, welcome back. No Quarter Given podcast. I'm your host, Jason, along with Peter Blake. We just reviewed the Bucs 34-23 loss at home to the Bengals. Now we have a rare holiday game. First time the Bucs have ever played on Christmas. I know that. I don't think the NFL's much played on Christmas much in the past. The Bucs are going to be the prime. I think it's a triple header this weekend as well. You got a couple games on NFL Network, and you also have actually this week. I think it's a Fox, CBS, NBC deal. I'm not sure there's an NFL Network game. We do have the 50th anniversary this weekend of the Immaculate Reception. You got the Raiders heading back to Pittsburgh 50 years later after the Immaculate Reception. Franco Harris stunned the Raiders late. So that was a tremendous memory. Peter Blake, you weren't even born yet. I wasn't even.
Was that last Sunday when Chandler Jones got the gift? I mean, was that what the Immaculate Reception was? I mean, I think there's a lot of Raider fans that are thinking that. I mean, did you see the end of that game?
Can you believe that?
I could not believe that. That's trying to do too much at the end of the day. And basically, the Patriots may have costed themselves a playoff spot because of stupidity. Just take the ball. Try to score. If you can't, go to overtime. Give yourself the opportunity.
Crazy.
Instead of pitching the ball back to Chandler Jones, who's been a man on a milk carton this year, who makes the biggest play of the game.
Crazy finish. And like you mentioned, the playoff implications of that game was so enormous with the Patriots and other teams in the AFC. So that one will be one that will for sure come to roost. It's funny how Belichick has been involved in two of the craziest finishes in NFL history. Remember 5 or 6 years ago, might have been 5 or 6 years ago, the Dolphins ran the pitch play on the Patriots to win the game on the last play of the game. Remember Gronkowski was involved in that at the end of the play there, where the Dolphins, I think it was Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I believe it was, and that team was not good that year, and they were just trying to look for a win. And Gronkowski was trying to play linebacker or safety or whatever he was trying to play, but wasn't too good on his part. He's not a tackler, that's for sure, and it looked like that was a mess. You also remember this last Saturday how the Vikings, the greatest comeback in NFL history. You're down what?
33
to nothing, and then 36-7 late in the third quarter, and Matt Ryan's a part of that. And then the Texans giving the Chiefs all kinds of problems. So it was a wild week of comebacks, and of course the Bucs were on the other end of that.
Yeah, right. All right. Want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I know Hanukkah's going on right now as we're celebrating Hanukkah as well. So again, I hope everybody has a good holiday season coming up. When you're listening to this, obviously Christmas is Sunday. Bucs are playing Sunday night in the desert in Arizona. Peter Blake, give me a couple quick thoughts. Again, you're probably going to see potentially Trace McSorley at quarterback for the Cardinals. Colt McCoy was injured last week in Denver. We don't know his status officially, but probably a pretty good chance you're going to see McSorley face the Buccaneers on Christmas night. And again, in a must-win game. The Cardinals are in full free fall. I believe they're 4-10 is their number. No Kyler Murray, no Colt McCoy. You still have Hopkins. You still got James Conner. The defense has been playing okay. Your thoughts going into the desert, Arizona Cardinals?
Easy, winnable game versus a third-string quarterback.
It's never easy, bro. It ain't easy this year. It ain't easy this year.
It ain't easy in the National Football League because it means no friggin' logic. But I guess my point of emphasis would be, I don't know, beat the Cardinals, take care of business one game at a time. Try to sack Trace McSorley as many times as you can. Try to shut down DeAndre Hopkins. Looking at you, Carlton Davis, again with that matchup. And Tom Brady, don't turn over the ball. I mean, I never thought we had to go into a no quarter given podcast and say, hopefully Tom Brady doesn't turn over the ball. I mean, maybe Todd Bowles was foreshadowing a couple of weeks ago when he was saying, well, I'm afraid my quarterback's going to throw an interception, so that's why I call timeout in the last 2 minutes. Because I tell you right now, he's got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. And then furthermore, Byron Leftwich or whoever's calling the plays at this juncture, they got to have a game plan that comes out and is solid. Establish that balance to your run game and also go pass play action down the field. And can this team score more than 17 points this week? Can they do it, Jason Powers?
Well, Brett Rippon from the Denver Broncos scored 24 last week, again, against this Arizona defense. So there's plays to be made out there. The good thing about Brady, again,
was it Mark Rippon? Was it? It was his son.
It's his nephew. Nephew.
Okay, well, we're getting old here when we're saying Brett Rippon. But Brett Rippon and that god-awful Denver Bronco offense, which struggled all year long with Russell Wilson, can score 24 points. Man, the Bucs should be able to score at least 30, right?
And Latavius Murray had a very big day running the ball, over 120 yards rushing for Denver. So there will be some opportunity in the run game. It'd be interesting to know. We don't know the status yet. Will Tristan Wirfs potentially return at right tackle this week? I know that he was practicing last week, wasn't quite ready to go, but he was practicing. So I wouldn't be shocked if he gave it a go this week in such a critical game for the Buccaneers. You have, again, the other teams in the division have some tough matchups. But again, if you're the Buccaneers, you got to stay ahead. You can't. You got to win this game. This is again, we've had other issues with third string quarterbacks. Pittsburgh, Carolina. You got to put your foot on their throat early here in Arizona. There won't be a huge crowd in Arizona. You don't think there'll be a lot of empty seats there? There won't be a lot of emotion in the building, I wouldn't think. So that's a benefit to the Buccaneers coming in on the road. This is a game. If you play another good first half like you did against Cincinnati, like you said, it might be a comfortable second half for the Buccaneers, hopefully.
Yep, just keep the pedal to the metal.
All right, again, playoff scenarios is pretty simple for the Buccaneers. They're going to be the 4 seed if they win the division. You got Carolina in 2, not this week, but following week. Again, if you can have a 2-game lead, Carolina, I believe, plays the streaking Detroit Lions. So not an easy game for Carolina. Atlanta plays at Baltimore. That won't be an easy game. I don't know who New Orleans plays. I don't have the schedule right in front of me who New Orleans has. But again, it's an opportunity here for the Buccaneers to extend the lead to 2 games to where next week's game at home against Carolina isn't for all the marbles. Because if you lose next week at home against Carolina, only up 1 game, you're now tied in the loss column, and Carolina would then have the tiebreaker advantage for the Buccaneers. So this week is a critical week if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, we don't know the status of Tristan Wirfs. I know Antoine Winfield left the game. Hopefully he's able to return this week. We'll see. But again, I was encouraged by the defense last week. Again, I don't think you're going to see Tom Brady. Again, the second interception, got his arm hit, fluky play. So I'm not going to kill him for that. But you can't have the mishandled handoffs. You got to protect the ball in the pocket. And again, if you do that, I don't think you're going to see 3 or 4 turnovers out of Tom Brady moving forward.
I like it.
All right. Give me a prediction, sir.
You know what? I'm not going to do a prediction this week. I'm just going to say Bucs are going to win. Okay. I'm so terrible when it comes to score predictions at this point. I've lost all my money betting on this team. In fact, I think there's a statistic out there like 3-9 against the spread.
Yeah, not good.
You know what? Bucs are going to win, and that's it. How about that?
I like it.
You like it. What about you?
I'm going to say Bucs win too. I'm going to say Bucs win by 10 points. I'm like you. I won't give a score, but I'll give a number. I'll say Bucs win by 10 points.
10-0.
Let's see the defense score this week. I can't tell you has the Buccaneer defense scored all year?
Since Mike Edwards against Jameis Winston in week 2, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's been week 2.
Right? Is there another one that you can think of at
I
this
can't.
point?
That's why I'm asking you, man. But one place I can say, go to buckpower.com and you'll be able to find out when the last time the Bucs scored on defense. So buckpower.com is your place. What will Peter Blake, before we get out of here, what's Peter Blake's Christmas Day and Christmas Eve look like?
Getting up a little bit early, opening some gifts, hanging out with family here, and sitting down and watching the Bucs win. That's what I want for Christmas, Santa. A Bucs win. That's it. No more coal in the stocking. I've been a good boy. Jason Powers, maybe not so much because he's still hanging out there in Ybor, and he's taking me, over there and escorting me over there, and I'm trying to tell him no. He's like having too much eggnog. Santa, I didn't do it. We don't deserve this as Bucs fans. Bucs need to win. We deserve it because that's what we want for Christmas. So that's what I'm going to be doing on Christmas Day. Keep me out of the clubs on Christmas Eve, Jason Powers.
Peter Blake, I mean, they probably do close a little early. The girls have to wrap presents too now.
There's a joke there, but I'm not going to address it at all.
Well, Buck fans, have a great Christmas. In all seriousness, have a great holiday with your families. Everybody celebrates Christmas differently. So however you celebrate it, have fun. Think of all the good things in your life. I know not everybody's, doing as well as they want to do, and we get it. But definitely think about all the good things in your life, that in your family.
Not too much eggnog there, Jason Powers.
We'll try not to. I don't want to be in a drunken stupor by 8:00 to hear Collinsworth and Tirico from the desert.
You saved that for like 9:30 when the Bucs are struggling.
After the 5th punt by your boy, the punt god.
The punt god, right? Exactly. Great pick, Jason Light. We didn't know how much we're going to use him this year, but he's been used a lot. So,
yeah, right. All right, Buck fans, thanks for joining us again. Remember, go on appreciate you. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button on your podcast platform. No Quarter Given podcast. Check out my Powers on Sports podcast, as well as the No Quarter Given podcast, as well as one more edition of the Florida Football Insiders podcast, which will be coming out between Christmas and New Year's. We'll be previewing the national championship semifinals and some bowl activity. Peter Blake, tell everybody where they can find all your great work.
Yeah, it's the Sports Web live on Facebook at I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports. And, of course, like and subscribe to Sports Web on YouTube on Monday and Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. And, of course, after the game, win or lose, do 3 things. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about.
And I'll make a prediction. I'm going to be on the post-game show this week. Win or lose. No, I'm not coming on if we lose. But when we win,
why not?
No.
Those are the best, those are the best post games. That's when everybody wants to yell and scream. And of course, everybody's off that night. It's Christmas night and I don't have to work the next day, which is great. So I could stay up all night long and hear people saying how bad this is and how bad that is. But yeah, you're exactly right. I wouldn't come on a podcast or a show either. I wouldn't come on the Sports Web if they lost. I wouldn't, but.
All right, I'll make you a deal. Since it's Christmas, I'll come on win or lose.
Okay.
Win or lose, I'm on with you post-game Sunday night.
Okay.
It'd be nice if you invited me on as a guest, but hey.
I invite you on. You're invited on. You're always invited on the Sports Web. I'll just send you the link. You're always invited. Come on.
Exactly. We'll definitely do that. All right. Make sure you get Mama Sandra a nice gift under the tree. At least one good thing.
Absolutely. We'll get her a couple good things.
Leave out some cookies and milk for Santa and his ladies coming down your chimney. No hanky panky down the chimney now, okay?
Okay, sounds good. The ladies, leave the ladies, Santa.
Lady elves.
Okay, all right.
And lady reindeers. Not Rudolph, but the lady reindeer too.
Lady reindeer, yes.
It is supposed to be cold this weekend here in Tampa, so
it is.
Bust out a long sleeve shirt and a light jacket.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in. I'm not going out and doing anything. I'm staying in, hot cocoa or some eggnog. Not too much eggnog, by the way. Not even
Eggnog?
real eggnog. Yeah, it's not good for the stomach. I heard. Not for
Yeah,
mine.
eggnog is rich. Very. If you've not had
Very
eggnog,
rich.
is very
Yes.
rich. I used to have it a lot as a kid, but it's
Uh,
very rich and it's not very good for the waistline either. It's not. It's high
no.
calories.
You want to put those LBs on during the holiday season.
And I
That's
know, Pete. I know you have some. You've had some from time to time some intestinal issues. We don't want to be mixing eggnog in with all that crap food that you like to eat.
Oh, you mean the chicken wings? I mean, that's only once a week. You don't do it all the time. But you made the mistake of drinking eggnog before you got to go into work. You start at 10 o'clock. You're
That's a
supposed to have
problem.
a full hour. And then about 15 minutes later, you're going to the can. And that's not
Boss man, I need a bathroom break. I'll see you in a few minutes.
when I work from home. So when I go on break, everybody thinks like there's a fire drill or somebody coming into my house because I can't take a break. So I have to run there quick. I'm like, oh God, 6 minutes, the first hour, they're gonna kill me, but they don't say nothing. Yeah.
All right, buddy. All right, have a good holiday, Peter Blake. Buck fans, we'll see you next week. No Quarter Given podcast. Please, 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 let's be 7-8 heading to the Carolina game
I'll
because
tell you right now, if they lose, I'm on air. I'm gonna drink a whole gallon of eggnog, and then you won't have me on a post game show because I'll be off to the can, getting rid of all that stuff that I drink. Because
thank you, Paul Stewart, for all you've done for us. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy Hanukkah and all that good stuff. And so happy holidays from the No Quarter Given podcast team, part of the BuckPower.com podcast network. And again, YouTube channel. You can Google Buck Power TV. You should not Google it, but search it, Buck Power TV. So see you next week, Buck fans. No Quarter Given podcast. We're going to see you at 7-8. Have a great holiday. We'll see you next time.